Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we're heading into week two here of the playoffs for Unified Minor League. My name is Icarus, and I'm joined here by none other than Nightstar once again. We're heading into quarterfinals today as we're getting set up for this fantastic series between Catalyst Frost and MSU Lotuses. How are you feeling about these two teams coming in?
Can't wait to dive in. We're starting to get into the nitty gritty, of course. Last week it was the round of 16, so a lot of teams going on, but now we've
Mhm.
trimmed it down to eight. This is where things get to be a little bit more exciting because not only do we get, some of those lower seeds, if they've made it this far, it means that they have upset a higher seeded squad. And it just means that it makes these matchups all the more exciting because they have overcome some adversity just to get here.
Yeah, and speaking of those lower seeds, we actually have one of them coming in and playing tonight here in MSU Lotuses, coming in as the third, fourth seed from the Ocean Division. Last week, they were able to take out Cali Cartel, the second seed from the Infernal Division, in order to place themselves up against the first seed tonight from the Mountain Division. A lot of words there, but if we're talking about upset stories and underdogs here, Lotuses is definitely one of those teams that we got to look at.
Yeah, and the upset is definitely there as far as this series goes because on the other side of the rift, Catalyst Frost, while they are 4-1, they've had a lot of stumbles here and there as they've dropped a number of games just to get to this position, even though they are a 4-1 squad. And so that just means it's definitely an intriguing series coming into today because of the upset potential.
And these are kind of those storylines that we in esports love to talk about as casters. It's almost too easy for us to go on about how underdog stories are such a great timeline to follow. And especially when you're looking at the likes of Catalyst Frost here, that first seed always has a lot of weight to it, and people are terrified to go up against them. But if there is going to be a first seed here that can be beat, I do think it's going to be Catalyst Frost. They lost a couple of series throughout the regular play-in series, and even then, they did have their final team FF on them because of the position that AoE Psychos was put in. They wouldn't have made it to playoffs anyway. So if there's one team that we haven't seen a whole lot of yet, it is Catalyst Frost.
Yeah, definitely a big asterisk on this team. And I mean, when it comes to trying to attack this team, I think when we're looking at the side of MSU Lotuses, I think they're going to allocate a lot of time towards this top side. Yes, we haven't seen a whole lot of either of these teams on stream. But when you look at what their picks have been, it's been a lot of these carry top laners. And when it comes to the bottom side of the map, it's been a little bit more passive, sitting back, looking to scale instead of really all out aggression. So that's kind of what I'm expecting here. And for the side of Catalyst Frost, they actually play a lot more of those weak side top laners. They've brought out the Ornn, they brought out the Mordekaiser. So look for the side of MSU Lotuses to try and punish top side.
And it's really interesting if we look at just the last series that Lotuses were able to play. Not only do they like to play for these side lanes, but in particular, I'm seeing an Aurelion Soul that was played by the mid laner. All three of their games, and this is a champion that you don't see a whole lot of. So when you say we're going to be looking towards this top side of the map, it's because they not only have a top side, a strong top side, but they have a mid laner that likes to
Mhm.
rotate up towards that top side of the map as well, likes to play these roaming style champions. And for Catalyst, they're going to have to find a way to be able to answer not just a strong topside player, but a mid player that is also going to be looking at that top half of the map.
Yep, which should, I mean, it's very akin to the world's meta at the moment, where it's a lot more about the solo laners rather than that bot side. Although, there's still moments for these bot lane players to shine, but it's been mostly about getting, or at least before Worlds, getting these supports out of the lane to then gank the mid lane, to gank that top lane. And
Mhm.
because we've had a little more enchanters recently, it's been a little bit less so, but you still want to get those supports moving at the very least to get vision around that top side to secure those pockets of safety for your solo laners.
And it's interesting because if we're looking at that bottom side and how they're going to be able to influence the top half of the map, Catalyst Frost does like to play through their AD carry. In some of their more recent games as well, we can
Mhm,
see the score lines for Storm. He's have some pop-off performances on these short-range, very aggressive AD carries. In particular, I'm seeing a 13-3 Kaisa game that he had just last week. So
mhm.
this man's
Yep.
pretty insane if he's able to find an early lead. And typically, if your AD carries ahead, that opens up a lot of room for your support to roam to the top half of the map. So a lot of questions coming into this series today on where we're going to see this pressure applied from both of these
Mhm.
teams and how these solo laners are going to get impacted, not just by the mid lane, but the supports as well.
Yeah, and I imagine we're going to see a lot of cross mapping here in this series because of how Catalyst Frost do like to pour those resources into very uh, aggressive bot laners because Kaisa, I
Mhm.
would definitely say, not a very good champion when it comes to scaling. But if you do get snowballing early on, you're very, very impressive. It's very similar to the Lucian that we have seen at Worlds, where if you get ahead, you really kind of steamroll the game. But if you ever fall behind or if you don't get a lead in lane, then you end up just being very, very unimpactful throughout the rest of the game.
And it's curious to see how the changing meta with both worlds and the most recent patches coming out is going to affect the champion pools that we see today as well. Misfortune has been a very high priority pick for a lot of worlds teams, but we haven't really
Mhm,
seen it played a lot by either two of the teams that are going to be playing tonight. So I am curious to see how that bottom lane meta is going to be changing and adapting, not just this week, but we do have semifinals and then finals just 2 weeks away from here, Nightstar, and we're really close to the end of the season here. These teams really got to bring everything they have to the table if they want to continue and push for that third, fourth, and even first, second place prizing here in the minor leagues.
yeah, and I mean, for these players too, definitely the pricing becomes a factor, right? Because a lot of these players haven't really played for big prizes. And this is one of the perks of playing in an upsurge league is that while, if you're able to get to these last couple of spots, there is a pretty sizable reward waiting for you, at least for players at this level. We're finally into Champion Select, so kind of set those narratives off to the side, keep them in your mind. But now we get to take a look at how this draft will actually play out. Will Frost, will they draft for that bottom side, and will MSU, will they draft for that top side of the map? So a lot of interesting and fun things about to happen in this pick ban.
It's always fun to see how these two teams define the start of this series, especially considering that since we're still in quarterfinals, this is only a best of three series this week. We don't get to our best of fives until next week when we hit semifinals. So you don't have nearly as much room for adaptation within a series here. You kind of have to come out bat swinging right from the start if you want to try and put yourself on what is essentially game point or match point if you're able to win the first game of the series, because we're only working on a best of three here. We do have Shen taken off the table here from Catalyst Frost. They want to try and not allow that topside focus. As we were saying, if you have Void in a strong position, he can influence the bottom side of the map, stop Storm from popping off. Meanwhile, LeBlanc being banned out here by Michigan State University. So already we're seeing a couple of those strong mid topside champions being focused away here.
Mhm. Yeah, and especially that Shen, just it's a interesting band because of course Void wants, I would imagine, wants to play more of those carries. So in that regard, perhaps trying to avoid having the top side being able to influence that bottom half of the map. In that regards, it's such a great answer to a bot heavy squad, because then you always bring in that numbers advantage coming in, whether or not it's through the teleport or just through the Shen stand united. Now, second round, we're going to get the Hecarim and the Viego, so taking some of these scaling and team fight impactful junglers out of the picture here as well. And Yumi, of course, everyone's favorite cat. I'm sure everyone in chat is all aboard the Yumi train. That is a pick that taken off the board, I'm sure everyone is really, really thankful of.
I hate that champion with a burning passion. I think that's the worst champion design that ever came out from Riot. But my personal opinions aside here, Nightstar, It's a champion that is so interesting because you feel so weak early and then just later stages of the game, it's so oppressive and hard to deal
Yep.
with. But the final ban coming in here from the side of Michigan State University is going to be that Jinx. We're talking about some bot lane focus coming here from the ban phase, at least from Michigan State University. And they do want to take that scaling AD carry off the board here. Now, we were talking about that misfortune earlier in the draft. I don't think we're going to ever see it in this series, as it does get passed up in the first rotation here. Camille, a very interesting first pick if you had to ask me here.
Yeah, Just Spawn did play it in their round of 16 match. So it's not like he doesn't have this in his pool, but it's a little bit off theme of what he typically does go ahead and lock in, as he's played a number of Malphite games, he's played a Mordekaiser, even, Garrett, which, while he's a strong laner, you're not really looking to be a big side lane threat necessarily, but MSU, looking at this Poppy pick, has a bunch of flex potential, but namely they do play it in the support role, which is very intriguing. Or it could be a takeaway from the side of Frost, as they do play it in the support role as well. So going for Poppy, and also now the Nivea. Nivea, of course, brings a lot of terrain control, a lot of wave clear, and really helps facilitate applying pressure and throwing it into one of these side lanes, whether it's in that bot lane duo or in that top side.
My mind instantly just goes to ye old Poppy wall slam combo. You set up the Nivea wall, you slam them into it with the Poppy, and it's one of those like really cheesy tactics that you see in a YouTube montage made by Peace Pigeon back in the day, but it's something that you have to keep in mind, is that it is a potential two-man setup, especially if you do throw that Poppy into the jungle for Amalgadon to play here. So that being said, on the other side, we do have again, some more really interesting priority picks coming in here by Catalyst Frost, and I can't seem to ignore the fact that there's been a Sivir lock in here. That's not an AD carry that we've seen in a hot minute in this meta.
Sivir, depending on how she builds, could be a great answer to this Anivia, just because of the fact that, Anivia wants to scale, and Crit Silver scales incredibly well as well, and you're also able to get access to the backline through the ricochets. But an interesting jungle pick to come out here, as the Fiddlesticks does get locked in. Very curious to see if the side of Frost, they'll just send that Graves into the jungle, because I feel like jungle or Graves is such a strong pick into Fiddlesticks, but apparently MSU, they consider differently.
It's going to be some really interesting matchups here. These are champions that we don't necessarily see a whole lot of, and when it comes to the position that both of these teams are in, I like to see them going towards things that they're feeling confident in. On one hand, we do have MSU that is really playing for this heavy CC zone control team fight style composition with the Fiddlesticks Crowstorm, with that Anivia, the Glacial Field that you're going to be able to put down, and then Poppy playing this undashable frontline member here, especially into the likes of this Camille and Graves. On the other hand, it's a lot of AD damage, and it's a lot of potential 1v1 pick potential coming in from the side of Catalyst Frost. They're going to be looking to play around this Camille in the side lane. They're going to be looking to play around this Graves, who's a scaling jungle and or mid lane pick. And then you just have Sivir there to provide so much wave clear with the Ricochet, with the Boomerang Blades. And then we see yet another scaling pick coming in here, or at least being hovered by the side of Catalyst Frost in that Karthus. So, it is going to be locked in as well. So it's just so much scaling here from Catalyst Frost. The Camille, the Graves, the Karthus, so much late game potential.
Yeah, and the interesting thing here for Frost is that they're actually a very low range composition. So against low range compositions, what are good champions? It's the Nivea, it's the Fiddlesticks, it's this Darius. So you actually get a lot of value from this draft, and also for the fact of MSU, because you have Bird in this bot lane, I almost want to say that this is actually a Nivea Poppy bot side. However, at the same time, with the Yasuo, there's so many options here, because you can just play off of the Yasuo Poppy combination as well very, very easily. So a lot of flexibility coming in from MSU, and for Frost, it's a lot of scaling, And it's just a matter of how do they get to those scaling breakpoints, because it is going to be a Graves into the mid lane, which I would say is a good matchup into Yasuo, because you're pretty short range, and Yasuo, what he's really good at is using the wind wall to really force those ranged champions to reallocate and make their way around the wall. But Graves, he can just kind of dash through it and then start outputting DPS once more.
I am going to get the Anivia Bird in the bot lane by Bird joke out now. I've said it. That way I don't have to say
Bird's
it
the
later in
word?
this broadcast. Ba 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 ba. Okay, moving along. I'm still caught up on this Anivia Poppy bottom lane here. And as interesting as everything else on the rest of this board is, the Anivia Poppy versus Sivir Soraka is really where I'm looking at, because these are such unusual lanes that we haven't seen. I don't remember the last time I've ever seen this combination, but it is the perfect setup for that Poppy wall slam with the Anivia on the bottom side. And on the other half, you just have the ultimate weather out the storm bottom lane here with Soraka, with Sivir. They're looking to wave clear. They're looking to match this bottom lane constant pressure through healing, through their own forms of wave clear, through their own ability to use that spell shield and not allow the Poppy to set up that combo against the wall, or at least block out some of the damage there. And it's going to be really interesting to see not just how these two lanes are going to match up against each other, but when is the focus from the junglers going to come in? Is it going to be towards that bottom side of the map for Catalyst Frost, or are they going to try and just match wave clear for wave clear and put all that focus towards the top side, try and shut down Void from MSU like we were mentioning earlier?
Yeah, and the big thing for me, while I do favor um, the side of MSU quite a bit, one of the things is to keep note of is the fact that Poppy i- is one of the support picks that does want to get ahead, because if put
Hmm.
behind, you don't have great gap closers, so you really rely on that extra stats coming in from getting these kills and assists to be able to prop yourself up to kind of run in pretty binary. And the big thing to keep note of in this game is the engage potential coming in from both sides is pretty low. There's no like clear, all right, the moment that we see this champion, like we can just go, uh, or champion with a clear go button.
Hmm.
So I'm looking at Frost, and their best engage is maybe a Camille being able to hook shot in and lock one member down, but at best, that's one member. You have some okay follow up at the very least with the silence field coming in from Soraka, but this is a very flash reliant Frost, and
Hmm.
the Poppy does well to stop their one engage, which is, of course, that hook shot.
But we have to keep in mind that the Poppy is also the one and only form of engage that you have that's super
Yeah.
reliable on the side of MSU Lotuses as well. You do have the Fiddlestick Crow Storm available, but that requires your opponent to kind of blindly check into you
Yep.
in order to really get the full capitalization there. That, or, we can see a potential proto build. The Flash is going to have to be utilized as well here a lot of the times for the side of
Yep.
Michigan State University. So both teams here have a really difficult time trying to start these fights off, and it really does come down to, I think, how these early stages of the game play out. If Michigan State University is able to find an early lead, I think they have a great time of running away with the game, but we can't underestimate the power of this super hyper scaling composition from Catalyst Frost if we don't see those early leads coming in by the red side team here.
Yeah. Uh, at the same time, it's not like they don't lack scaling themselves. The big difference is, of course, they're playing with a melee AD carry, whereas on the flip side, Frost, they are playing with a ranged AD carry. In fact, they have two of them. That'll be the big difference when it comes to later on in this game. But at the same time, it's just so difficult to siege against MSU's comp, because you have to deal with the Nivea wave clear, and then you also have to deal with the fiddlesticks coming over the wall. So I feel like there's just so many more outs for MSU. And while the scaling is really good on Frost from pretty much all these lanes, it's going to be difficult unless if they're just kind of gifted a straight up fight.
And this is very true, but there's only time that can tell which one of these teams is going to come out ahead, as we are heading into the first game here. It is going to be Catalyst Floss on the blue side. It is going to be Michigan State University Lotuses on the red side. We do see Karthus starting on the top side of the map. Also, it is going to be the Fiddlesticks starting, double leashing his red and Raptors. You'd like to see the little micro mechanics like that being played out here from these higher ranked jungler players, showing their real mechanics and their ability to clear as quickly as possible. So I wanted to see how these two junglers, who typically don't have great ganking patterns throughout the early stages of the game, what is going to be their priority? Are they going to focus purely on just hard farming their jungle as many times as possible, or are we going to see a little bit more action from either the Karthus or the Fiddlesticks?
Oh, really, really good trade there, actually, coming in from Hypochondriac. He's played this pick before, I believe. Let me just skim through real quick. Actually, he has not. But it's, again, pretty nice matchup into the Yasuo, because you can also use your E dash to get armor, and that's really, really nice to just continue these duels against the Yasuo. But okay, showcasing some of that power here already.
We were talking about it before. That's going to be the flash to ignite the follow-up burst. Blood for Viviri. The Poppy support with the Anivia wall to set up the dash. It happened, and it only took us 2.5 minutes to get there.
And this combination is just built to be a kill lane as a duo, even though you do have scaling with the Nivea pick. It's all about snowballing this Poppy, which seems a little bit odd to say because it is a support and usually you're not looking to snowball your support pick, but now it starts opening up a lot more options, because at level 6, of course, you can just leave the Nivea to just wave clear really to high heaven here and allow the Poppies to then just wreak havoc around the rest of the map, because you can go mid. If you press E on someone, then instantly you have the Yasuo to follow up, and then you can also go top lane, help out this Darius. And I would say the main drawback here for this MSU comp, though, is, well, I mean, look at the summoner spells. For Frost, they've got double teleports, and there's 0 teleports on the side of MSU.
You really do need to get these lanes rolling ahead early here. I'm surprised to see that Classified isn't going to be taking a teleport, but with that Ghost on the Darius on the top side, I'm actually a little disappointed to see that he didn't use it throughout the early stages. Typically, Darius's level 1 trading, if you take the W, is so oppressive here, and without using it at the level 1, it means that he has given over a lot of pressure on this top side of the map. We can see slowly but surely Spawn is pushing that wave into the top side of the map. Both junglers up there as well to try and catch out this wave that is going to be crashing. It will mean that Spawn has to back away here. Void does miss the pullback. The Apprehend is not going to land, so Lucy Spear there to just discourage any further fighting from Amalgadon or Void. And we can see just the amount of pressure that is provided in that top lane should be there available for Void, but without using that early summoner spell and getting that aggressive trade, it's just so difficult for him to seize control of this lane again.
And that was a much better trade setup coming in from the bot lane of Frost, instantly throwing out the silence field on the Poppy to deter the Poppy or stop the Poppy from following up on that wall. And that means Storm, his spell shield, is going to really keep him alive in that regard, because he can just spell shield the one CC he needs to watch out for, which is of course the Anivia stun.
Slower early game here. It seems like a lot more respect coming in from the bottom lane this time around. You got one cheese onto Storm and Shaka down here in order to get that first blood, but it seems like they have an understanding of how this lane is going to be played out from now on, or at least they're trying their best to not allow themselves get picked off anymore here. As I was kind of expecting here, both of these junglers are a little bit more focused on hyper clearing their jungles, already making it through their second rotation, finishing up on that bottom side of the map once again here, both at about 40 CS apiece, and keeping on par with their solo laners at this rate. They are just looking to hit level 6 before they really start to impact the map.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a farm game, all things considered, because we're waiting for these junglers to hit 6 to start being able to impact the map. And Hypo trying to zone off Fiddlesticks should work pretty easily, although it does look like they're still interested in trying to bring out a fight.
Ooh, that is going to be the smite coming out by the blue side team. They're going to pick up the dragon here. Fight continues, though. That's going to be a stun into the walls. Hypochondriac goes down to a bird. Lucy Spear, he has to try and kite this one out, but Classified will land that tornado. Still chasing on the bottom side. Bird and Viviri want to try and go in here. The spell shield only blocks the E, but the stun is going to connect. That's going to be the dash into the wall again. Storm dropping down extremely
low. Look at the heals, though!
But the heals, you cannot survive this one as Chaka has not been touched. Soraka putting in so much work here as the egg will get popped, but it will not matter as Storm will pick up a second kill here. First for himself, Chaka with the other. They're barely able to make that one an even fight, but at the end of the day, the dragon is secured here by the side of Catalyst Frost.
And look at the inventory coming in. Oh, okay. At first, I saw Bird instantly buy the Oblivion Orb. Just go, well, screw this. I'm just I need this. But in fact, he's actually going to pivot and go for the tier 2 boots. Will appreciate that extra movement speed. But now here comes the flank.
Oh, the flank from Amalgadon is beautiful. Storm8 had no idea what was going on there as he goes down to the hands of the Fiddlesticks. Poppy's going to be able to pick that one up. It was an amazing backside rotation coming, and he was able to sneak his way through that tri-bush, and they had no idea he was there.
Yeah, he basically went from Raptors all the way through their own jungle to essentially backdoor them. And fantastic first gank using that level 6 to perfection. Now Lucy also has level 6, but will look to try and make his own impact with that first ultimate. But so far so good. MSU, of course, this is a squad without many teleports and not a lot of, you know, global map plays available to them. But when it comes to these individual isolated situations, that's where they're going to really shine.
Level 6 is available here for Void. He has the full stacks. A hook shot to safety will mean that Spawn isn't going to get dunked on just quite yet. This top side is starting to look a little bit scarier here for just Spawn, as there has been a quick rush. Again, a lot of tier 2 boots being finished up here very swiftly from the side of Michigan State University. Fiddlesticks, Darius, and Anivia all rushing straight for that extra mobility here. Typically speaking, champions that do want to position themselves quite aggressively, or in the Nivea's case, wants to back away, but in the mid lane, Hypochondriac has to try and dash away, uses the ultimate, but that's going to be the dash forward. That's going to be the pullback from Void. He catches two people, and they both go down here. Emma's 6 and 2 early. They are doing so much aggression in this early game.
And Classified, he lives with I don't even know what HP. That was pretty much 1 HP, as close as you could get right then and there. And MSU, they come out with yet another massive, massive team fight win there, as they had the numbers advantage. And Josbond, he doesn't come in with the teleport, trying to get as much of an advantage for himself right now. But unfortunately, Void, able to find 2 assists for himself, is pretty much able to nullify whatever CS advantage that Josbond just got, staying in top side.
We are seeing Amalgadon trying to set up yet another gank on the bottom side. The stun is going to connect here. They might not even need the Fiddlesticks. Maviri bursts down Storm here, and we can see that Executioner's Calling that was built by the Poppy is putting in so much work there. Soraka ultimate almost entirely ignored through that. They can look for the dive here, as you're saying, Nightstar, but instead, Chaka, being headwise about this, is going to back away towards that tier 2 turret, won't allow herself to be dove underneath the turret as Classified, continuously just shoving in this mid wave, and Lucy has not found an opportunity to really impact this map the same way that Amalgadon has.
Yeah, and the big thing here is Lucy, I mean, it's so hard to gank as the Karthus when they don't have a... Okay.
Ooh, that's going to be the ultimate. That's going to be the flash. The Fear will connect on the contract, but Vavir has moved over the chase. As you say, Nightstar, as soon as it starts, it ends, and it will result in the Graves in the mid lane going down. It has been a struggle here for Hypochondriac and Lucy.
Oh, man, this is so rough, because when you look at these... when you look at the Graves and you look at the Karthus, what are they really good at? They're really good at neutralizing and just power farming up, because they are able to farm up so incredibly fast and just ramp up in power. But because of how this map is playing out for the side of MSU, they're constantly attacking these lanes, he's finding those kills, and right now the Rift is on fire, and Frost, I mean, they're just melting under pressure.
And it's interesting to see that already 11 and a half minutes into this game, you have a 3,000 gold lead here for the side of MSU. And what do they end up doing with this lead that they have? They go straight into the Hextech Purifier, or the Hextech Chainsword, I should say, from Vivir here, wanting to go, and also an Execution is calling, hold on, mid lane, there's more pressure onto this Graves here. He's going to have to flash away, Hypochondriac to safety as the Dragon is spawning onto the map here. And both times, this Darius is rotated towards the Dragon Pit right as it's spawning here. That will mean that the Rift Herald's going to get started up by Lucy, but he will be seen out by Void, so most likely he has to disengage away from this one, and Spawn is going to have to rotate over just to make sure that his jungler gets out safe.
Look at the claps, though. They are all up here, and the map rotations is just that much better coming in from MSU for the side Frost. Like, this is the team with double teleport, and yet they're the ones just getting outmapped all around. And this is very tough to watch. It seems like MSU, they just have Frost's number just throughout this early game. And even if you start hitting some of these scaling points, at what point is the scaling going to be enough to overcome the difference? But now Lucy, she is done.
Oh, Lucy in his own jungle doesn't know that he's having his buff stolen away. It is mean that Just Spawn is going to rotate over in order to try and answer this one. Lucy will be able to get the kill onto that one. Vivir is here. The collapse is coming in by Void. He's going to get the pullback. He's going to be looking for the dunk. That's not going to get the execution, but it's going to be the Poppy support at 6-1 and 2 that is just getting everything in the kitchen sink that they want.
Even the blue buff, baby. Give them all of it. Oh my,
You said he got to get ahead, Nightstar.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we already see the Chainsword, like, what if it's just like a full AD build, you know? And just Assassin Poppy. Because you already have the Electrocute, you're going super aggressive. I mean, the Electrocute's really for lane, but who am I to say if it's not going to carry over even more so? But I just can't wait for the rest of this build to develop. RA has, of course, the tier 2 boots. Like, tier 2 boots being completed all around by MSU. That's something to keep track of, just because it means that they can move around the map that much faster. It helps overcome some of that differences that the side of Frost have in the fact that they do have, you know, double globals and also double teleports available to them. MSU, they're the ones looking like they have all the globals in their hands.
And it's just really coming down to these early rotations that are coming in from MSU, and the lane states that they've been setting themselves up for. Void and Classified have managed to keep their lanes constantly shoved out with little to no punishment coming in from Lucy so far. And that means that they're able to get the heads up plays on the rotations towards those bottom side dragons, rotating into the mid lane in order to shut down Hypochondriac. And we've only seen one teleport used so far this game, and it's just been used by Spawn in order to go back towards the top side in order to catch the waves and start shoving out these minions once again. But immediately we see that he loses control of the top side once again here, and it's just Void running over this top side. He hasn't really been pressured despite the fact that he's been shoved up in lane the whole time, and that has given him so much room to rotate across the map despite the fact that he is lacking that teleport.
Looks like they're going to try and set something up down in this bottom side, but once more we have the pressure coming out from MSU, matching in response, and okay, coming in from a backdoor flank, but I don't think he realized he was spotted out, and now he's going to get collapsed upon.
Ooh, that was a great spell shot in order to dodge out the Poppy ultimate. You can keep going here if you're the side of Catalyst Frost. The Zonius is going to be forced here. Stopwatch will be broken, and that is not gonna secure the life for Amalgadon. He goes down as finally we have a kill going over to the side of Catalyst Frost. That is going to be felt so nicely here for Lucy Spears on this Karthus.
That's a big pickup there, because they really needed something to go in their way unanswered.
Again, another great spell show coming in by Storm here. There is no Fiddlesticks to try and answer this aggression as Karthus is available. He backs away. The referee is going to be coming out. It's not going to be enough. A dark Seal will be taken away here, or I should say Dark Harvest will be picked up here, but you're right. They should have continued stepping forward there. Will, however, mean the safety for Storm as he can now shove out this wave, try and get a nice reset in here as we are 45 seconds away from this next dragon to come onto the map.
45 seconds until next dragon. The real big things to keep note of is the fact that Lucy Spear just used that ultimate. And for the side of MSU, you don't have the Fiddlestick stopwatch, so that's a key survivability tool when he goes in, initiates with that ultimate, able to use that stopwatch, of course, to continue to stall out time. But I don't think this is going to be a big problem for them, because if you look at the gold, it's a 5k gold differential. Frost, they've already lost that mid tower. That means a lot of this jungle vision, jungle control that they have in their own jungle, that's going to slowly get pinched out here. And that means MSU, they can just freely start this out. And to be fair, Frost, they're already over on the top side of the map. They're looking to try and steal some sort of camps up top side, but if you look at the mini map, there's only Krugs.
Not a whole lot here for Callus Frost to pick up. They unfortunately just could not get themselves in a position to try and play around that dragon. Storm so close to getting engaged on there, but I do want to note something that we were talking about earlier here is for the side of MSU and for Catalyst Frost, where does that engage potential come in from? The Proto Belt and the Predator boots coming out here from Amalgadon is really setting up this Fiddlesticks that, despite the fact he doesn't have the Zanyas completed just quite yet, he is going to be that main form of engage for MSU. And we can see with just how much ward coverage is being set up everywhere that Michigan State University is going. They're really looking to try and start these fights on their own terms with a great Crowstorm setup. And we see that just through how they've warded up this bottom side of the jungles. We do have an engage coming on bottom side. That's the dive. A bird with a great wall. It's just so gross. How do you move in that lane?
That is brutal. And now they're still on the chase. They're trying to find yet another pick. And oh, there it is.
It's a great hook coming in from Void. That's going to be the flash forward coming in from Amalgadon. He wants to try and follow up with the Crowstorm. The Protobelt's coming in here. The Fear will land. It's the double dunk. Darius coming in here. The ultimate will mean that Lucy Spears is able to secure that kill onto the Fiddlesticks, but it is going to be a 2-for-1, a 3-for-1 at the end of the day, and it is just all coming up MSUL here.
The Lotus is just continuing to come out on top in these fights. And now they're going to get this top tower as well. And a 7,000 gold lead at only 19 minutes is about to grow even more. Get another little chunk there. And yeah, this is a very, very tough spot for Frost to play from. Thankfully, they do have, you know, Sivir. The age-old 300 CS win condition. However, she is kind of answered by the fact that there's just so much area control coming in from MSU. If you ever make a mistake, you will get hard punished in your position.
It feels like both of these teams have kind of put themselves in a position to wave clear and hope the other team makes a mistake, but with this massive gold lead that we were just talking about, it is MSU that has so much more potential to make plays happen, and they still have that super mobile Fiddlesticks with the Predator boots, with the Proto Belt as well, and then you still have the Anivia and Poppy setup, as we see once again trying to make it happen on the bottom side of the map here. Storm is going to be getting just absolutely chunked out. No Poppy to even make the damage happen, and one more is going to be coming out of Bird with the solo bolo onto Storm 8. It is just so difficult for this bottom lane of Cloudless Frost to deal with the Frost Bird.
Yeah, I don't think they expected this early Anivia pick to come through. They were probably hoping that, hey, you know, yes, Bird is most likely an Anivia one trick. We could probably see that in the OB.GGs, but like, where are the chances they just blind pick Anivia? This champion's not that good. Well, they did, and they're really paying for it because of that. As Frost, they're really struggling. They are able to get the egg popped.
What is it going to mean, though? Doesn't matter if you're not able to follow up on it. It does mean that Bird's going to be a little bit more vulnerable in the future, but A great defense from Vivir and Classified will mean that a bird can walk away from that one after the snipe coming in from Hypochondriac. Meanwhile, they lost their bottom lane turret as well. All outer turrets here being taken by the side of Michigan State University. They are looking to try and just run this game through as quickly as possible. 8,000 gold in the lead, and we can see this means the Zanya is completed here for Amalgadon. It does mean 2 items in the pockets of Classified, including that completed Grievous Wounds item. We are working towards that second item for both a bird and Vivir. Just everywhere you look, the itemization coming in so far ahead here from the side of Michigan State University.
And now they're even turning their attention to a 20-minute Baron. Of course, you have Amalgadon, so he's got plenty of sustain. And with Graves showing down in that bot side without a teleport, he's not going to be able to get to this fight if they even are cognizant of this instance. And it doesn't look like they're interested in trying to contest. They don't even... I mean, they do have a blue trinket, but I'm not going to even sniff anywhere close to it. And that's just going to be yet another objective going into the hands of MSU. They have 2 dragons that are in, now a Baron and Dragon up. Well, how do you even fight this? Even if you're able to secure it, get out. They don't even get it!
Tragedy for Catalyst. Frost's Mind's going to be coming in from MSU here. That's going to be the closely trying to engage here. Dash into the wall by Vivir. He takes the first one. Karthus going down. The Wrecking coming out, trying to get something in return. But it's already been 2 kills made for the side of MSU. Void is doing so much work here. He has all 3 members of Catalyst Frost caught up. The Dunk is not going to be able to get the execute, but there's so much healing. There is so much survivability. Chaka is trying to do his best, but it's not going to be enough as Void finds a double kill. Hypochondriac making his way out stage left. That is a 4-0. MSU steal the dragon. They get the Baron, and now with the massive wave on the bottom side of the map, they are looking to end this game, or at least put the final nails in the coffin here with this massive Baron double wave.
Going to be able to get so much off of this push. They're going to be able to crash this in, and yes, Lucy is respawned. As you know, death timers are pretty short given the fact that it is only 20 minutes into the game, but so much lost. And more importantly, it's over 10k gold advantage for the side of MSU, and they're able to secure this Dragon Soul, which is a mountain. Like, everything is working against Frost right now, because you have to deal with the Mountain Rift. That's more walls and more objects to get into, and then you have to deal with Mountain Soul, which is of course more resistances and more health to really prevent this Karthus from ever doing anything in this game.
Oh, Malgadon,
this is 1v2.
Dirty man. The 2v1, as you were saying, an easy double kill for this Fiddlesticks. He may not have all the kills for his team, but he's definitely feeling so strong. Hypochondriac is going to be able to punish him, though. You can't get away with that. Not in our side of the jungle. He says will mean a kill in response here for the Graves, but it's already costed you 2. There's a minion wave in the mid lane here. It doesn't seem to matter. Catalyst Frost, they're doing their best to find what they can, but every time they find something, it's off the back of an advantageous play here from Michigan State University.
Yeah, it's really just Frost constantly put on the back foot, constantly looking to try and salvage whatever scraps that they can get. And I mean, the scraps aren't much. It really is not much here. Hypo, he's out of position. He's probably dead. This could be the last fight.
Zanyas in order to keep themselves alive here. Vivir finally showing up. Do you still have the egg available? Lucy's Spear stepping a little far forward away from his team there with no one to back him up. He wanted to try and make use of that full team fight that he saw as an opportunity, but instead just ends up going down. And MSU, with only 3 people on the top side, they're able to find, or 4 people, they're able to find the fight, 1 kill, and walk away.
Yeah, and it's really just an item advantage at this point, right? Because you have 2.5 items completed over on side of MSU, and for Frost, they're really just they're full item behind in most cases. Now they're able to get 2 items completed on both the Graves and the Sivir, but because of how much magic damage is coming out from this MSU squad, like Graves isn't going to get maximum value out of this build. How is he going to be able to maintain those auto attacks when he's going to be taking so much damage, and now he's probably just dead too?
I don't even think Vivir needs
Life
to come
seal
in
that.
there. It's just gonna mean instant death as soon as that Crow Storm comes out. There's not a whole lot that you can do about it. The Baron buff has finally worn off, which is good news for the side of Catalyst Frost, but sitting at 14, almost 15,000 gold behind at 26 minutes into this game. It is a minute and 15 seconds until that Mountain Dragon spawns on the map, and I don't think there is any way here for Catalyst Frost to be able to just leave their base. As we can see, as soon as they leave the safety of those inhibitor turrets, the Crow Storm is just waiting behind them.
But yeah, there's really just no defense coming in from Frost here. It's such a tough fight, uphill battle, trying to get back into this game. And it's really just all on the back of Chaka. Can this Soraka carry the rest of the squad? I mean, Vivir, he's been carrying the squad pretty well. 6-1-5. But now, I mean, if Frost want to get back into this, they need to rely on the power of the Soraka to keep them up in these team fights. And now they're trying to get a catch on fully.
The Sivir ultimate was popping in order to try and catch up to this Darius.
Can he
Here,
1v4?
4 people coming into this Darius. The Steris Gauge has been popped. He's doing his best to survive so far. The flash is being used in order to get the safety. Oh my goodness, he is so tanky. That Kraves ultimate looked like it healed Void rather than do any damage. He's able to take the blast cone to safety. Both summoner spells have been forced, but what does it cost you for Catalyst Frost? It costs you 3 ultimates, and it will mean that they have lost all priority on this bottom side of the map, and Dragon is coming up here in 3 seconds, Nightstar.
Might have been an opportunity to try and get the kill with the Karthus ultimate, but they don't end up pulling the trigger on that. Now that's Mountain Soul going into their hands. I don't know, Icarus.
Look, you never like to be
I'm
the
all
caster.
about for next game. I'm all for next game right now. Especially if I'm Frost.
You never want to be the caster that calls it quits and is like, you know what, it's probably time to look at the next game. But when you're this far behind, 15,000 gold, Chaka, they'll electrocute. It does so much damage here just from the side of a Veer. It's the Mountain Soul. It is 15,000 gold. It is 6 turrets to 1, 23 kills to 6, and a Baron buff that is about to top it all off here. I think it's fairly safe to say, Nightstar, that this is going to be one of those situations where Catalyst Frost has to take a step back and look at their draft and say, what went wrong? What do we need to do better in this next game? Because it is a best of 3, which means that they have 1 game to try and fix their problems here, or else they're going to be dropping this series and they're out of contention, and it's going to be semifinals here for Michigan State University Lotuses.
Lotuses are looking fantastic here, and I mean, this was a really fun draft to try and navigate through as well, right? You have the Fiddlesticks, you have the Nivea Poppy. There's just so many fun elements, and how do you try to counter strat against that? That's going to be the real question. Because while I love the Soraka pick, and I wouldn't even mind them going back to the Soraka Sivir as an answer, it's just so difficult for them to play out the rest of the map. This Karthus pick not really working out whatsoever. The map state really just fell away before this Karthus could kind of become impactful, and now it's going to be a bit of a slow death as they're just really escorting these minions in. And now Chaka forced out the flash, means that, well, I mean, the one carry on this Frost team, he's lost his flash now.
Every wall from this Anivia is a death opportunity on Catalyst Frost. That's going to be the Crow Storm. That's going to be the Zap Core. That's going to be such a massive AoE start to this team fight here. Poppy is winding up the hammer. Is going to knock away 1 person, but it's just so that they can clear out the rest in this team fight. It's also going to mean that the inhibitor on the top side goes down. Karthus from the Death Realm will be able to get a shutdown onto Amalgadon, but I don't think it's going to be enough here, Nightstar. As 2 members of Catalyst Frost, they want to try and defend the Nexus turrets here. Poppy with the wall jam is not going to be able to get the slam, is not going to be able to get the stun. It's going to be the first Nexus turret. The second Nexus turret is going to be going down here. Baron buff and a minion wave. 4 members of MSUL are going to be able to end game 1 here in a commanding fashion. 19,000 gold in the lead there by the very end. Like, what can you do if you're Catalyst Frost? It is just kind of one of those games that you wipe your hands of and you say, you know what, we'll get them next time.
That was just that was a game of League of Legends. And
Yes, it was.
I mean, it almost felt like the side of MSU, they were just playing Wild Rift, right? Where you're just constantly attacking these lanes nonstop, you're constantly fighting, and
Mhm.
the side of this Frost, I don't know what game they were playing. They're waiting for next game.
Uh,
Really, that was it. Like
they're
there
playing the
was
Star
no,
Guardians. Star Guardian special mode, PvE, just clearing out
yeah,
farms, clearing out waves, try to
yeah,
take the jungle, whatever they can.
yeah. They were definitely playing one of the special modes, whether it's the Star Guardian mode or the, well, what was the space mode? It was,
Odyssey.
yeah, the Odyssey mode. Just trying to clear endless amounts of minions. That was pretty much it. It was a stark contrast of play styles in that game. And
Mhm.
hopefully we get to see a change in play style, especially coming in from Frost, because they need an overhaul of their strategy.
Yeah, I'm not finding much success with that draft that they had going on here, but there's only one way to find out what is going to happen to these two teams. It is a best of three here, so MSUL putting them up by 1 point. If they win this next game, it is semifinals for them. Catalyst Frost looking to turn this series around, though. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in a few minutes here, and we'll see you with game two. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon.
I drink a lot of sodas when I'm gaming. Might as well drink something that's good for me. Head over to drinkolipop.com and order your favorite flavor.
Welcome back as we're getting set up game two here between Catalyst Frost and MSU Lotuses after what was a really one-sided commanding win coming in from the Lotuses. The third seed team coming in from that Ocean division, showing up massive in the first game of this best of three series here.
Yeah, only 2 wins during the regular season, but turning up here. And I mean, they looked great in game number 1. We kind of set up like, hey, and even though this is a 1 seed, they're pretty fallible. It's not like their
Mhm.
series happened super clean. There's a lot of asterisks to their regular season, and boy, did we just get shown those asterisks are kind of in bold right now.
Yeah, you add a few extra of them, make large underlined notes. We might as well write a bibliography at this point in order to state all your sources on what we need to ask here from the side of Catalyst Frost. Let's start off with looking at that draft, though. We saw a Camille first pick, maybe not the most priority pick to be looking at, and just kind of this very hyper scaling composition that lacked any real form of early game pressure. And we saw that when they started falling behind early, especially around that bottom side of the map, they just crumbled under the pressure and there was no way for them to keep up.
Yeah, that was the real problem, right? They had no way to fight their way back into the game. If they're behind, well, it's very difficult for them to just get a pick like that because their pick tool was the Camille, and Camille was just
Hmm.
top lane the entire game. I don't recall if Camille ever moved away from just laning. So that has to change. Like this Camille pick clearly not looking to work out for the squad unless they change a lot of other things in the draft to be able to really play around this Camille pick, because I
Hmm.
think that was the big thing was if you go for a Camille, you need to invest some resources, and there was really no way to do so through this draft.
It's difficult to invest resources though when every single one of your champions and lanes are really just about surviving rather than they are about being proactive play. And that's something that I've talked about previously, and something that I always like to see when it comes to these teams is where is your aggressive playmaking potential? How do you control the map on your terms? And that's something that I think was just lacking overall from the Kairos Frost composition. That's not to say that MSU had a overwhelming amount of team fight potential that they could control. They had the poppy and the fiddlesticks as their main priority for the majority of it. But the fact that they're able to find those early leads and at least had a winning lane combination is what I think
Mhm.
really got them in a solid position here, because they were able to find some early leads and then from there rotate their members across the map, get through these priorities on the objectives, and just really control the map and control the team fight starting from very early on.
Now, the question here coming into this next draft, we do have Frost swapping over to the red side.
Mhm.
So they're going to have counter pick towards the end. They're going to be able to see what this composition is from MSU, but there's just so many picks that are kind of off meta or off kilter from the standard stuff that you do see. How do Frost deal with those kinds of style of picks? Like, for example, the Fiddlesticks, the Nivea, the Poppy, all of these picks, like, you don't typically see these champions, and like you don't have enough bans for all these champions too.
Well, I mean, they're definitely going to be starting off with one of those champions. The Fiddlesticks being taken off the board here by the side of Catalyst Frost to start off this new rotation of bans here. It is game 2 here, which means in this best of 3 series, if Catalyst Frost loses this one, they are going to be out of contention here. LeBlanc is going to be a repeat ban coming in by the side of MSU. That Viego following up once again. My favorite saying here, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, which means that MSU, they're just going to go back to the same bans as last time, because you win in that commanding of a fashion, you're going to just try and repeat that success. It's up to Catalyst Frost here to really make something new happen. I would like to see that Anivia taken off the board here, but they are going to go back to that jungle again, back to that Hecarim, taking away this team fight potential away from Amalgadon.
Now we'll see, like, with these last 2 bans, what ends up being the priority here for this first pick. I almost want to say MSU, if the Nivea doesn't get banned away, they're just gonna instantly lock that in just because Bird is so comfortable on the champion, as kind of shown. Or maybe they perhaps for Frost, they say, all right, you can have the Nivea, but we'll take the Poppy, deny that part of the combination, and we also have a way to kind of flex it around the map in multiple ways. But they do go ahead, take away the Nivea, and decide we just don't want to play against that, because that was just such an unfun time dealing with the wall. But it means everyone's favorite cat is alive and well.
If you could see my face right, Nightstar, right now, just pain and agony, because this champion is just not fun to play against. So much pain. As a bot lane AD carry main myself, it hurts my soul every time I see this champion locked in. But it is going to be that you're going to be locked in here from the side of MSUL. It is that late game Enchanter that we were talking about at the very start of the night. These Enchanters kind of coming back into prevalence here. Misfortune is also up and available. Kind of the world premiere bottom lane that has been showing so heavily in the current Worlds meta is just the super survivable Misfortune that is so oppressive in the laning phase. I'm curious to see what Catalyst Frost is going to be looking to try and counteract this with. The Lee Sin picked up here. I already like to see this more hyper aggressive early game jungler coming in from Catalyst Frost. They really, I keep coming back to it, they went all in on the late game, all in on the we're just gonna farm and scale, but they lack that proactivity. Having this super mechanical champion, this early game strength will provide so much playmaking opportunity for Catalyst Frost. They're also going to be indexing into a little bit more of a still not meta champion here, but something for Storm to play that's going to give him a little bit more early game viability in this Xayah, that self-peel, that ability to provide CC, and I think what is some better early game damage for the side of Catalyst Frost.
Xayah did get a little bit of help in the previous patches as well. Another thing to note is the MF got dinked on this particular patch, having mana nerfs on her W, so unable to really shove out as easily as before. The Shen will get locked in though, and I think we're going to see a bit of a stylistic change in, well, I honestly think it's probably actually still going to be about this bottom side of the map. We have Twitch, we have Yuumi locked in. This is the ultimate submarine composition, because you've got Twitch, Yuumi. Twitch goes into stealth, the Yuumi speeds them up, and then when you're nearing your target, target locked, the Shen will pop out with you. But one of the ways to counteract Yuumi in particular is to just go ahead, lock in the Mordekaiser, because you just ult the target that Yuumi is trying to help out, and you just strip away and demount the cat.
I am having an absolute nerd moment right here, Nightstar. I love just the meta games of this draft that are coming in here. The ultimate submarine is the only way that you can really talk about it, with the invisible Yuumi and the invisible Shen ultimate Stand United coming in. And it's also that hyper scaling late game AD carry that's going to want this Yuumi, that is going to want that Stand United. That one person that you can put all of your eggs into that basket is going to be somebody like Bird on this Twitch. But on the other side, as you said, the Mordekaiser. I was so caught up in trying to think about, oh my gosh, it's such a great combo. Catalyst Frost is already thinking, how do we beat this? And they come up with a perfect answer in that Death Realm. You get access to the Death Realm, you throw Twitch into the solo 1v1, and suddenly that combo that you have built in this first rotation of picks here has the potential to be null and void as long as you don't pick up an early QSS. So MSU, they'll have to invest at least in a QSS for this Twitch, if not a McHale's as well, in order for the side of Vivir, if they want to make sure that their hyper carry Twitch is safe. We are going through a second rotation of bans here, though. The Nocturne taken off of the board, more jungle focus already. We've had 2 bans coming out from the side of Catalyst Frost. Now it's going to be 4 after the second rotation, as that Olaf is taken off the table as well. For Khan, the Lovers duo will be denied here from MSU. What is their final ban going to be here? I do expect more of that support pool to be pinched here, but at the end of the day, it is going to be Catalyst Frost that has access to that last final pick.
They're going to go ahead, take away the Rakan, and take away the Sona as well. So scaling picks that can sort of match the Yumi and pack in a little bit of engaged potential of their own. And we'll see where Frost goes with this pick in particular. It looks like they're currently hovering the Leona. So they've really kind of 180'd their draft from last game, right? Where they didn't have a whole lot of playmaking, they didn't have a whole lot of engage. Now they've already opened up with Elisen, and now they have that Leona. So very clear forms of engage this time around, trying to flip things back in this series. And MSU, they've locked in the Graves. Graves also a champion that did get nerfed. I didn't mention it in the beginning, but I would say the Graves is still in a good spot for jungle, and in certain situations, maybe you're able to play him in the soul lanes, but it's a lot less prominent in the soul lanes, which I think is what Riot wanted to do with the nerfs on the armor he gets from his dash. TF locked in here. It's just a full global composition from MSU, and all forms of all signs are pointing down into this bottom lane, really, because I mean, Shen, he wants to go bot lane. He's not really ganking for this mid, and TF, you're not ganking for Shen, so all hands on deck for this submarine.
All aboard the bottom lane gank train going on here for the side of MSU, as you say. It's production says all aboard the Ratmobile. There's no better way to put it here, as everybody's going to be here to make sure that the mouse can pop off. This time, the cat not trying to kill the mouse, but instead keep him alive. It's going to be such an interesting game here. MSU turning what we thought was going to be a top-centric series into an entirely bottom-side focused game here. And on the other hand, you have Storm, kind of this AD carry that we were talking about at the start of the night, is that bottom lane carry here for Catalyst Frost, and it's going to be MSU after a very successful game that is taking them to the bottom side. They want to say, hey, you know what? We see that you play through Storm. We see that you guys play through these hyper carries on the bottom side. We're going to shut you down where you are strongest, and I love to see that kind of aggression coming in here. However, Xayah Leona is not necessarily a lane that you want to mess with early, because that is so much CC and so much damage here. I think MSU, it's all about how they play these early levels 1 through 5 without those ultimates available. Are they going to be playing with fire a little bit too much? Can they survive that level 3 engage or even the level 2 engage we know is going to be coming out from this bottom lane from Catalyst Frost, because they want to come back with a vengeance here.
And I think you really nailed it on the head there. And just the fact that Leona Xayah is a very good skirmish lane down in that 2v2. And on the flip side, Yumi Twitch does not do well early levels. You want to get a couple levels into him and get, more importantly, items into him. So while he ramps up like an absolute behemoth, this lane phase is really, really important here. And like all sides do point towards this Xayah Leona lane having the advantage. But of course, like if this Twitch is able to hit level 6 from his solo laners, importantly, that's when help will be able to come down. So all eyes on the early levels here down in that bot lane.
It was the level 2 wall cheese that got the bottom lane from MSUL that first blood. There was absolutely no expectation for the Nivea, for Bird to level up the wall second there, and we saw how caught off Storm was by it, the fact that he goes down there. But now in game 2 here, it is going to be up to MSU to survive the early stages of this game on the bottom side of the map. It is going to be the MSUL on the blue side, Catalyst Frost on the red side, as we have 5 stacks from both of these teams here. They are expecting some early aggression.
5-man sack, both sides, but opposite sides of the map. However, just spawned. He's starting to get a little bit curious.
Oh no.
He's not a cat, so maybe he won't die for it. But they might just pass each other by as well.
Like ships in the night here. It's so tense.
Submarines in the night.
Submarines in the night works just as well. Oh no, just spawned. Oh, he's going to see them. Classified reveals Bird is also going to be seen here. So the Mordekaiser will be able to see the top side. We'll see the top side invasion, which prompts a bottom side rotation coming in from Catalyst Frost. They're going to be able to get the wards down. So it's just going to be a little bit of vision for a little bit of vision. But Is it going to be Catalyst Frost that stays around here? They might be looking to find a pick on a bird of their own.
This would
Oh,
be
they
a
haven't started it.
fantastic pick if they are able to get this bird. Seeing that it hasn't started out. Oh no,
Oh,
he's in
that's gonna
trouble.
be the Zenith Blade Bird. You're gonna have to flash, you're gonna have to heal, do something here. No cleanse. That is gonna be the heal and exhaust used by Vivir here in order to make sure that his AD carry gets out alive. Two summoner spells blown right off the bat here for the side of MSUL.
But more importantly, the Twitch has both of his summoner spells. So if this next gank does come through, he is going to be able to dodge out one. However, at the same time, I almost want to just have this Lee Sin go straight down bottom to apply pressure because, of course, there was an alleyway for him to gank coming in from that Krug path, but not going to do so. Instead, just goes straight back into his own jungle. I feel like that's a bit of a missed opportunity to just heavily punish this bottom lane. And again, like those summoners on the Yumi, they will come up pretty fast. And Amalgadon, he is also spotted out.
Yeah, Lucy Spear knows that this is happening here. There's smite available for both of these junglers.
Reinforcements
Meanwhile, on
coming
the top
on.
side of the map, there's going to be a fight going on. Just Spawn has to try and dodge away from Void here, but it's going to be the mid laner for the side of Catalyst Frost is able to get the first rotation here. Mordekaiser are dropping down pretty low here. At the end of the day, it does mean that Malgadon is able to smite away that red buff. So the Graves coming out on top here,
Mhm.
but it's still just a 1-for-1 on the red trade here. Re-engage coming in by Lucy
Still
Spear, but
fighting.
you're down a level here. Amalgadon is getting body blocked out by some of these leftover Raptors here. Hypochondriac also getting shoved in here, so no more support available from this side of Catalyst Frost, and Lucy Spear just has to walk away, understands that his red buff and his Raptors are gone, and already Lucy Spears put down 10 CS in the jungle farm here from some great plays coming in by Amalgadon and the rest of MSUL.
MSU, they're just on top of things so well here. Knowing that, hey, this Graves, he can still skirmish and mosey with the best of them against that Lee Sin, and now they're going to try and dive top lane. This could be a very risky play, and I mean, they deny a couple of CS, but really it's just overall a nice survival coming in from Just Spawn. He's not going to lose too much here, and it's really only MCU that lose out on that play. And now in this mid lane, here comes a Lee Sin gank.
Ooh, that's going to be the dash forward, the slow coming in here. That will be the Sonic Wave that lands. He's going to take the Resonating Strike. He goes in. The flash coming out by Hypochondriac, and one more auto attack from Lucy secures first blood. Catalyst Frost answer back in game 2.
Flashing extremely early in that situation, not waiting for the Q to come out or for the bubble, and instead ends up costing him quite a bit. He goes down. That's a much needed kill, much needed morale boost here for the side of Frost, as they've been, I mean, pretty much on the back foot this entire series so far, at last being able to dictate a couple of plays of their own, find themselves a first blood.
Malgadon is coming in from behind Just Spawn
A lot of
here.
minions
Void
here.
is going to be able to get the dash in. Ignite coming down. It will not mean much of a fight back coming from Just Spawn. He does have the teleport if he wants to try and get back into this top side of the map, but he will be going down early. A benefactor of the early flash that was kind of blown by this Mordekaiser during that invade that we saw earlier. We didn't really get a chance to talk about it, but so much just happened off of the back of that early aggression coming in from Catalyst Frost, and MSU responding on the top side of the map does result in what we feared was going to be this Mordekaiser falling behind early, which means that once Void is able to get towards that level 6, we're still looking at this bottom side of the map. We're still waiting to see what happens once level 6s are available across the board. And a Shen that is slowly but surely winning out on this lane is something that is going to be feared from the side of Catalyst Frost.
Yeah, more importantly, like Shen's in a comfortable spot, but this TF, dying early on, losing the flash could be a pressure point for the side of Frost to exploit, because they do have the Zoe and they do have the Lisa, and two champions that work extremely well at generating picks. And if this TF ever gets caught out trying to roam to one of these side lanes, he will pretty much die instantaneously. So I like that adaptation coming in from Frost, and being able to get that first kill is going to help out tremendously in that regard as well. So Malgadon, He's coming in to try and remedy his situation by getting this crash, but Lucy Spirit is around and it's going to deny any other further aggression onto Hypochondriac in that situation.
It's such a disgusting freeze on the top side of the map here from Void. Just Spawn trying his best to
Mhm.
break the freeze underneath the turret here, but Malgadon and Lucy are both on this top side, so no one there to really help out with where this minion wave is put, and Just Spawn has to back away here. We have yet to see any real aggression spawn on this bottom side of the map, despite the fact that we had those double summoners blown early by this Yumi. And now we can see that Vivir does have access to that exhaust and heal once again. So Bird has been able to survive the early few levels of this game. Level 6 now available for Void and Classified. And this is where things really start to come online for the side of MSUL. We got to wonder, when are we going to start seeing this pressure that we were talking about earlier really make its way down towards the bottom side of the map? Dragon is
Mhm.
available. Level 6 ultimates are available for Shen and Twisted Fate, and Graves is making his way down bottom.
Yeah, now we're starting to see both of these junglers start to hover around bot side, knowing that action is just so close to breaking out here. Talked about, hey, the early summoners burnt onto Yumi might have offered an opportunity to try and repunish, but because Lucy's Spirit did get countered a little bit around his own red buff, unable to get the 3 buff off himself, it means that, well, the answer kind of got neutralized. Now, Amalgadon, he actually has advantage here.
Lucy
Level
Spear going in
6.
a little bit early. Malgadon, that's going to be the flash and dash forward. He's going to be able to finish off the enemy jungler. Lucy Spear goes down, which means the dragon that's still leash is going to be secured here by the side of
Wait,
MSUL. It will be smited away here on
Tia?
the top side, though. TF going in very deep. Chaka has to flash away, though, as he has the help of the Stand United. Void is not going to be able to finish off that kill as the Ignite finally finishes
Ooh.
taking away, and the Leona will make her way to safety here. But as MSUL first to the dragon, they're going to be able to find the first Ocean Drake for themselves.
And the rotations coming in is just faster coming in from MSU, and they're also able to take advantage of the fact that, well, Graves is just he farms so much faster than this Lee Sin. And he's able to hit level 6. Lucy Spear still level 5, and while he wants to contest and get this red buff for himself, it's just a one-way trip, man.
Oh no, Lucy Spear, he didn't know that Void was waiting in that bush. There's no flash available for this Lee Sin. He tries to find the Sonic Wave, but it's not going to land on Amalgadon with the great sidestep in order to keep himself safe. Void has to flash away. They're trying to get set up for this blast going, and Amalgadon just patiently waiting for his top laner to join him so he can say goodbye. The Rift Herald is going to be mine. Your jungler is still dead after I take his red buff. Chaka
Chaka's
does
still around.
not have anyone to help him out here. So that's
Uh-oh.
going to be a dashboard from Amalgadon. This might be a Leona that's a little too far forward with no one to help. Will mean he has to back away there. Is not going to take too much damage, but is yet another kill being donated over to the side of MSUL, and a Rift Herald now available for themselves as well.
And MSU right back to where they picked off here. Faster rotations and being able to strip away all the objectives. And now, possible pick onto the jungler.
It's not again here for Lucy Spear. Every time it's the top laner that's named
He
Just
just
Spawn.
respawned.
It's the top laner that's named Just Spawn, but it's the jungler that keeps going down here. That's going to be a great engage onto a bird, though. There is no Yumi ultimate, which means the flash and cleanse have to be blown here. Amalgadon on the top side of the map. It is aggression everywhere here from MSU and from Catalyst Frost. Just Spawn is trying to find his way out of this fight as best he can. The Death Realm used to buy as much time as possible. There is a big wave here that Amalgadon and Void have to burn through, but is there going to be anyone coming to help out Just Spawn? Lee Sin is on the bottom side of the map. A dive is being set up slowly but surely here. Will
They
this
can
one
pop
go
Rift Herald
through?
too.
Rift Herald available. Don't think it's going to get used though, as Just Spawn steps forward, gets another great decimating smash onto Amalgadon, but is not going to mean much in return here. And Mordekaiser fending off dive after dive. Catalyst
Mhm.
Frost is doing their best to try and keep themselves in this game.
Now Bird going in. He's got help.
Man, they're not giving me a
And
break here.
they're not going to fully commit to that though.
Whew.
But yeah, I mean, it's just MSU back to what works for them. And it's just being able to rotate, get to these objectives first, and they're just on the same page. And for the side of Frost, they're playing like a group of individuals, very skilled individuals, mind you, but the team play is just not quite there. And it's already a 1,300 gold lead at 11 minutes. And we don't have to mention the amount of scaling power that they do have with this Twitch Uni combination. And it really is about this Mordekaiser. Is he going to be strong enough to be able to just go ahead, alt the Twitch, and then 1v1 him when it comes to that point? Or is he just going to have to use that ultimate, use an immediate stopwatch to prevent himself from getting insta bursted out? That's going to be the real question. But if we look at the itemization, Icarus,
Is
the
it?
items.
I was going to ask in Champion Select, and this one goes out to a couple of my friends, but it might be, and I'm hoping it is, the Nasher's Tooth Rush AP Twitch on a bird with that blasting wand.
Well,
There's so
it is
much
going to be
damage.
AP somewhere.
It, I mean, it has to be. We do have some action going on in the mid lane, though. Malgadon not able to make that dive happen onto the Zoe, or not able to shove out that wave entirely. 45 seconds on the next dragon spawning here, though, as Lucy Spear wants to try and find some aggression around this mid lane. Chaka also showing up in order to make sure this Lee Sin is fine and dandy. So much fighting across the map here. I want to see how this upcoming team fight is going to play out, though, with this AP Twitch. Just went back to base. It is the Nash's Tooth here, Nightstar, and I'm
Mhm.
so excited to see how this upcoming team fight plays out.
Yeah, and if we could just pull up the gold real quick right before this fight does break out, we're going to see a little bit of this gold differential. Most of it is on this Graves, as Graves has done such a good job in just staying ahead in the farm, staying ahead of the play. The TF also
Mhm.
making up for the rest of that gold differential, of course, with that passive and just being able to get that extra kill and assist has made that difference. And now they're going to have full vision. They are on the dragon, and it's just what kind of play can we see?
All teleports are available. The Mordekaiser
Here
is going to
comes
be
the
coming
flank.
into the middle of the pit, but that has been classified. He's been caught out, but not before he trains a life here. Zoe has gone down as Hypochondriac gives up his life in order to try and
Spawn
make
has
this pick
arrived.
happen. Twisted Fate still alive on the backside of this fight. Classified has not been fully picked off yet, and it is Void that is able to find Storm. It is a completely scattered fight
Oh
here,
my
but it's
lord.
MSU that is
What?
finding everything across the map. It is 3 kills. It is 1v1s happening everywhere, and it is Michigan State University Lotus that has found so much success. They're going to find the second dragon for themselves as well. Void canceling that recall onto Lucy Spear will end up getting the kill as well. It is tragedy for Catalyst Frost.
Man. Uh Looking forward to next season, I guess.
Sag?
Man, that was a
Oh,
rough fight. They got to the dragon first, but positioning just not quite good enough. Can they get Amalgadon on the back ends?
we'll have to see here. That's so much damage to Ignite coming down. One more auto attack. Hypochondriac finally getting revenge here will mean that he gets a return kill, but it's a shot down into the Zoe, a good place to start, but it is already 2 dragons. It's 4,000, 4,500 gold here, Nightstar, and this is not the way you want this early game to be going.
Yeah. To say the least, yes. You are correct, Icarus. This is not the way they want this game to go. Already down 6 kills, already down 4k gold. And now they're really just at the mercy of this Twitch Yumi combination. Yes, you have the Death Realm, but that's not up all the time. And you also have the fact that, well, you also need Mordekaiser there. And the one big problem from last game was that, well, Just Spawn wasn't exactly moving around the map very quickly. He was pretty much molasses here, and his team's really going to need him to be involved if they are going to get back into this game.
I do like to see that he had used the teleport in order to get into the pit with the rest of his team there and join that team fight, to say the least, but it just felt like such a scattered fight for Catalyst Frost, and they weren't able to find which man they wanted to focus on. Just Spawn ended up using that Death Realm on the Twitch. Meanwhile, the other 4 members just fighting on the top side or the top jungle in order to try and find where Classified was doing damage from. And we see a pick coming out in the jungle here. Oh
Oh,
my goodness, it's gonna be the
goodbye.
takeaway. The AP Twitch Nightstar. It's coming to haunt us.
Oh man, AP Twitch, while those autos do not hit hard whatsoever, that expunge just rips a chunk out of your health. Boom!
Classified coming in.
Goes
That's
the
going to be the
dynamite.
kickback. Classified underneath turret uses the Everfrost in order to get himself to safety here. The Stand United means that Void can follow up with another taunt here. It is just so much pressure coming in from
Oh.
MSU Lotuses here. We've said it entire series so far, Night Star. The rotations coming in from Michigan State University are just so much faster. Just Spawn didn't have the
Mhm.
teleport available, which means that he's not able to join that fight as quickly. And by the time he walks his way down there, Shen has already gotten underneath turret, finished off the kill, and walked away. Second Rift Herald is going to be picked up here from Michigan State University Lotuses, and they are just looking to run over this map once again.
And the big thing is, even though you do have teleport on this Mordekaiser, he's still not going to be there fast enough because the Stand United and the TF Ultimate are so much faster in channel times. So they will always get there just a fraction faster, even if
Mhm.
you are the first one to teleport. And this map state's definitely a little bit dire. Look at the Yumi build. Like, she's even rushed the Staff of Flowing Water just to give more AP to the Switch.
Oh, it's the submarine Night Star. You can't expect that the Yumi ultimate comes out. The Twitch ultimate comes out. The expunge does half your health, and hypochondriac goes down with a minute and 5 seconds left on this dragon spawning here. It is also going to be a cloud rift here, and that is a
That's brutal.
terrifying realization for Catalyst Frost, because when you have the Stand United, you have the Destiny, you have both Twitch and Yumi ultimates on lower cooldowns. It is such a
Mhm.
scary world for the side of Catalyst Frost.
More importantly, it's that Twitch ultimate, right? Because uh, it just makes these pickoffs come so much more readily. And yeah, I mean, it's not going to be real damage coming out of the Chaka in that instance because not enough auto attacks, but this is problematic to say the least. And now the side of Frost, they really want to try and contest this next dragon. And I mean, their composition is built to try and get picks, but they don't have a great team fight. They need picks.
They,
It's instrumental,
they need to find
and that's a
picks.
whiff.
They're throwing everything they can to try and make it happen here. The Leona ultimate will be down before the fights even starts here. Bird going in with that invisibility will get some damage, will force the flash out of hypochondriac. It's going to be the engage coming in from Just Spawn here. He has used the ultimate. He's getting his way onto the switch. So much damage happening, but is he going to be able to finish it? No, that's going to be the flash. That will mean that he survives for a little bit longer, but Lucy is able to finish off the kill once the
Is it
deathlock is able
working?
to end here. He trades 1-for-1 at the end of the day. It is 2-for-2 now as Amalgadon is able to find another one for himself. The ultimate comes out from Storm here. Oh my goodness, that's going to be the blade caller that does so much work here. Lucy gets one more taunt, one more kick in order to do so much damage, but is not going to be enough. The wallets of MSUL are just too big here, and it's the global pressure of Void and Classified. They didn't even have to use their ultimates there, and they still win the team fight.
Man, they're not even hitting them with the Benjamins. It's just sheer amounts of like gold ingots. They're just lobbing them at him. Like it's not the endless amounts of Benjamins and the dollar bills that they're just pouring on top of them, suffocating them. No, they're just going straight for the hard stuff, for the real goods. And boy, is it landing. Frost, there's just really nothing else left to them. They're down already soul point, and it's only 20 minutes. This is going to be a 25-minute uh, Dragon Soul, which is really, really fast, all things considered, for this level of play. And now, I mean, Storm, he's just dead.
Oh no.
He's dead.
Oh no, Storm, not like this. That is absolutely death. He didn't even need the full stacks there from a bird. He knew he was gonna die here. Rabadon's in the works here for a bird 6, 1, and 5 on this Twitch. The Yumi Twitch submarine combo just doing so much work.
It's just nonstop jousting. Nonstop. There's just no two ways about it. I mean, you could call this the Tom and Jerry duo as well.
I love it. Wait, hold on. Hold on. What's the name? What's the name of the dog again? Spike. Who would Spike be? Would that be like Nasus? I have no idea. I gotta figure out what this Tom and Jerry composition is going to be looking like as we take a moment to reflect on the state of the board here. Night Star 9,000 golden lead from MSU. They are looking to break their pace of the last game where they were just so far ahead. And this game around, they are doing the exact same thing here. Baron, about the same time as it was started and completed here from MSUL in the last game, has not been started this time around, but it is being pressured here from all members of the Michigan State University lineup.
Yeah, you can kind of see how dire the map state is, right? Because Lucy Spear, he has to give up his camps, and he's also now put in a position where he just has to camp these bushes and hope someone from MSU walks into him so he can get a kill off of them. And as a result, he's spending so much time in these bushes that Amalgadon, he's got a 55 CS lead, approaching 60 very, very quickly, has the shield bow, has the Ghost Blade completed. There's so many items on the side of MSU. Look at this top lane, Void. He's bought a redemption because he knows it just takes one team fight to end this game, and redemption is just so good because you amplify your shield power with that ultimate. And now they're going to start out this Baron buff. However, a nice little ward there will be able to spot it out, but can they even stop it? That's the question. They're putting so many pings down.
It's so much going on here for the side of MSUL. They try and sneak away this Baron. They won't be able to finish it off there. That's a great sleep, but that's going to be just an immediate cleanse coming in from a bird here. Hypochondriac's not able to follow up on that one. What is going to be the response here from MSU? The ultimate coming out. Oh
Oh,
my god. That's going to
they're
be the
going.
response from MSUL here. Twisted Fate has used the ultimate. Look where he's at. He's in the back line. There is going to be the Stand
No
United
gold
available
card.
if they try to go in there. No gold guard has been used yet, but that is going to be the book that comes out here. Bird finds another one. The expunge not available anymore. This time the gold card will be pulled out as Classified is able to finish off the kill on T'Chaka. Storm has to use the ultimate in order to try and stay himself alive as the trick goes down, but it's going to be the flash and dash that comes in from Void in order to finish off the Zaya and Spawn. You have your teleport. Why have you not joined this fight? As he walks into this fight, his team dead, the inner turret down, and Baron in the eyes of MSUL.
Just spawned, has just arrived to the scene of the crime, and there's really just nothing else for him but to outline the dead bodies of his comrades. Yeah, it's a tough look, but now 11k gold advantage for MSU. Got 17 kill advantage. They're going to get a Baron to add another 1500 into their pockets. The items are there, the wallets are there, the levels are there, and there's just nothing else to say. We even have a Lich Bane coming out from its classified. Usually for a third item, you're looking for the Zanya's Hourglass to be able to go for aggressive ultimates to then be able to Zanya's buy extra more time for the rest of your team to follow up. But at this point, he gets himself a Lich Bane. They don't have enough damage necessarily to one-shot him. He's going to bring a lot more damage himself. Like,
There's just so
it's
much
rough.
that's going on here. The Everfrost, the gold card, the re-engage coming in by
They
Lucy. He
need a
wants to
pick.
try and find something here.
They
That's a
found the
great
pick.
pick. Bird has been
Maybe.
pulled off to the side, but the flash away from the wall is going to be able to get himself alive. What it does mean, though, is that Yumi is left without her rat, which means she goes down at the start of this fight. Bird coming in. That's going to be the ultimate. He hasn't used the expunge yet. Dash forward and a double kill coming in from Amalgadon, though. We still have
Gold
the
card.
Void waiting to join this fight.
Oh
Finally, he
my
gets access to
lord.
the Stand United. So much damage coming in from Amalgadon, and Void is finally arrived.
Penta?
Lucy
Penta?
Spear and Chaka
Penta?
has to try and run away here. We try and hope for the Penta here, but Lucy Spear with a dash over the wall will be able to get out alive, and Leona safe as well. It will, however, mean that this dragon is uncontested. It will mean that the Cloud Soul is available and will be secured here by the side of MSUL, and they are all but secured as they are looking to lock in their spots into the semifinals.
Man, now this move speed is going to be problematic for the side of Frost to deal with as well. As if locking down targets wasn't already difficult enough. And while a lot of their members are missing flashes, in fact, all of them are on the side of MSU. I mean, this extra move speed is going to help remedy some of that problem.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
What is there to do? What is it to do, Nightstar? It's
What is there to do? An excellent question, Icarus. What do you have planned for the rest of your night?
praising the glory of MSU Lotus, the third seed team coming in here from the Ocean Division, taking on the number one seed from Mountain. They are showing why they are worthy of their semi-final and quarterfinal position here. I gotta wonder if you're these other teams as well. You're looking at some of these very unique draft compositions and just the really interesting approach to the game that Michigan State University Lotuses are bringing here. They have so many unique combos. How do you ban them out, and how do you play against what is this very lane focused, hyper aggressive, constantly in your face fighting style that MSU has drafted for themselves? And I think it has to start with seeing more pressure coming in from teams that are willing to match the amount of aggression that they're playing at.
Yeah, it comes down to matching the pressure, but also to play around proper windows of opportunity, right? Because they burned the double summoners onto the Yumi early on in this
Mhm.
bottom lane. They have a Leona, they have Lee Sin. Like, you just gotta camp this lane nonstop. You can't afford to scale. And now they're trying to set up for the Hail Mary right here.
Ooh, Cleanse will be forced out by a bird there in order to keep himself away from the Lunar Ultimate. That's going to be the flash forward. That's going to be the Rat has been isolated. He goes down. Shutdown has been secured by Just Spawn. He pops his Onions out of the death room in order to buy himself some more
They
time.
still have
He's
another
trying to
80
survive for
carry
as long
though.
as possible. There is that other 80 carry, though. Classified will find the first of the fight for the side of MSUL. That Storm trying to do his best to put out as much damage as possible. The Blade Caller will be able to get a stun and a lockup onto two members, but is not going to be enough damage. Malgadon dashes forward. The Yumi is still alive. Suddenly, Graves is full health. The Twisted Fate ultimate comes out. He is teleporting to the top side of the map because his fight may have started off with the bird going down, but it is MSUL that find two at the end of the day. They are just pressuring every lane here. Rotations to the bottom side of the map means that top and bottom lane will be losing their inner turrets here. There is nowhere for Catalyst Frost to run away from this unrelenting pressure.
Man. And even though Frost, they may have ice in their veins, it's not doing well for them. It's making them move very, very slow. Frost, not really described to how they do in clutch situations. Rather, it's how they move around the map in this instance, and it's not been good. It has not been good, and I mean, 17K gold lead. This is essentially done and dusted. It's just formalities at this point. We've got ourselves some items over on the side of MSU, and for the side of Frost, they've got some, I don't know, garage sale items. It's not much.
it, it's so difficult here for Catalyst Frost because we saw what was essentially best case scenario happen for them. They isolate a bird, they force the cleanse early, so he doesn't have the QS, he doesn't have the ability to get out of the death realm anymore. Just Spawn is able to get the shutdown, gets all that AP from the killing effect as well, but just doesn't matter because Amalgadon is still there to back him up. Void 4-0 and 13. Amalgadon 9-2 and 11. Classified still sitting at 6-1 and 9, completing that full Zanyas after that last fight. It's just one of those situations where they fell too far behind in the early stages of the game. And while I like to see their counter fighting is better in this game, and we see them putting up a bit more of a fight, it's still just a little too late to be able to contest how far ahead Michigan State University is.
Yeah, it really is just too little too late at this point here. And credit goes to MSU for being able to churn out these compositions. Really innovative, really fun to watch. And I look forward to what they can pull out in the, I mean, in the semifinals, but possibly even in the finals. Of course, once you do hit semis, it means that you kind of are in a, you're playing for two things. You know, you're playing for first, of course, but if you do get knocked down, you still have the opportunity to play for third. And Void, I mean, he's pretty tanky at this point. He just walks away. So
casually
Yeah.
disregards just spawned as Amalgadon coming in. Wants to try and force a fight on the bottom side, 2v1. Top side of the fight, though, we are going to have Lucy Spear trying to go in onto a bird here, but it's not going to really matter. It's just so far ahead from MSU. It is a wipe across the map. 2v2 on the bottom side gets lost. 3v3 on the top side of the map is lost here for Catalyst Frost. And MSU, with all 5 members standing at the end of game 2 here, are going to win this series in an absolute stomping fashion. They go up 32-7. 22,000 gold in the lead, Night Star. They beat their record from last time, and they take this series in absolute, like, there was no contestation.
It was a shellacking.
Yeah.
Put it how it is. At the very least, we've got a short night. um, but yeah, credit goes out to MSU. They came out in a, I mean, seating wise, they were in a mismatch, but play wise, they definitely showed that they are a team to be feared. And for the side of Frost, it was rough. Uh, um, yeah.
Production is asking to see my hat. I love axolotls. They're really cute. And Mudkip was my favorite starter of all Pokemon. That's as much information as I have coming out of that series. What is there really
I
to
mean, the
say?
expression on the axolotl's face really just kind of embodies the series, right? It's just
Just
like,
kind of, hmm, yep,
it
yep.
happened.
It really does. We could see it feels so bad to say for Catalyst Frost coming in as the first seed that they lost so hard here, and they had to win in order to get to this stage. They won their games last week and they have their strengths, but unfortunately tonight when it matters, they just weren't playing as a unit, and that's
Yep.
what it came down to here for Michigan State University Lotuses, is that whenever something happened, any of the objectives spawn, any team fight was happening, they were the first team to rotate. They were the first team to use their globals, even though there was double teleport advantage in game 1 there. It just felt like Void was always on
Mhm.
top of those rotations. And no matter what was thrown at them by the side of Catalyst Frost, they were either outnumbered or just outgunned at that point, because by the
Mhm.
time we did see them grouping up as 5, making the correct rotations, it didn't matter because they were 13, 15, 20,000 gold behind.
Yeah, and this just looked to me like a very well-oiled CeeLo roster, a squad looking to try and do some damage in CeeLo. We'll see, of course, if they can actually make their mark. Of course, CeeLo is very, very difficult to rise to the cream or rise to
Mhm.
the top in especially the North Division, but they certainly have the rotational gameplay to do it. And, very impressed by this series coming out from them. And we'll just have to look ahead and see how well they do moving forward.
Uh, I have high hopes for them wherever they end up going next week in semifinals in their C-Law series. But, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a 2-0 night, which means we are done here on the side of the Unified Minor Leagues. Commanding fashion coming in from the Michigan State University Lotuses team, and whoever they face up against next week does have a lot of thinking to do about how they're going to deal with these compositions. How are they going to be able to play against them? But from myself, from Nightstar, and from our production in Hypertension, we appreciate all of you coming out and watching this series tonight, and we look forward to seeing you next week as we enter our first round of best of fives in the semifinals here in the Unified Minor Leagues. We'll see you guys then.